I call this meeting to order. Welcome to Senate meeting 5529. The date is October 27th, 2025, and it is currently 6 p.m. I will now go over roll call. Senator Grabowski is unexcused. Senator Martinez Solis.
Present.
Senator Montoya is unexcused. FPP Aravia.
Present.
Senator Tufele.
Present.
Senator Prieto.
Present.
Senator Hushman. Present. Senator Mendoza. Present. Senator Lee. Present. Senator Higgins.
Present.
Senator Perez Martinez. Here. Senator Davis. And Connie Hughes. Senator Cost. Present. Senator Navarro Mendoza. And once again, Senator Navarro Mendoza. Mr. Kovac. Senator Brooks. Present. Senator Cameron. Present. Senator Curry.
Present.
Senator Briones.
Present.
Senator Yellington. Present. Senator Navarro Mendoza.
Present.
Thank you. With 16 senators present, we are meeting quorum. Senators online, please remember to keep your cameras on in order to be considered for a quorum, or else you will be counted as an excuse, with the exception of Senator Navarro Mendoza, because of technical difficulties. At 6:02 p.m., I will now open my acknowledgements. The University of Nevada, Las Vegas wishes to acknowledge and honor the indigenous communities of this region. I recognize that the university is situated on the traditional homelands of the Noli Southern Pied people. We offer gratitude for the land itself, for those who have stewarded for generations, and for the opportunity to study, learn, work, and be a community with this land. At 6:03 p.m., I will close land acknowledgement and at the same time open public comments. This is the time for the public may come and speak. Members of the public, you are limited to 3 minutes for your public comments. Please refrain from saying any slanders or defamation of character, as I have a right to limit your comments. Are there any public comments here in the room? Go ahead, please say your first and last name. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Nadia Perez Martinez, EEREZ, MARTINEZ. I wanted to bring to everyone's attention the scholarship Senate bills that will be coming to the Senate in a couple of minutes. I'm specifically talking about Senate Bill 55-168, Senate Bill 55-169, and Senate Bill 55-170. The 3 of us that are presenting Senate bills have been working incredibly hard, and I especially want to thank Senator Briones, because he's definitely been working along with this Senate bill. So I know that this is the last meeting, but these scholarships, we've been working incredibly hard, and I feel like they should pass. Not because of the fact that we've been working incredibly hard, but I feel like this is gonna make such a strong impact on the people that can benefit from these scholarships. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any more public comments here with us? Seeing none, are there any public via the telephone line? Seeing none, I will close public comments at 6:05 p.m. and at the same time open approval of minutes. For meeting minutes 5528, are there any discrepancies regarding the meeting minutes? Seeing none, we will move on. For a voice vote, all in favor of approving meeting minutes 5528, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With a vote, 16 to 0, the meeting minutes are approved. I will now close meeting minutes, approval of minutes at 6:05 p.m. and at the same time open agenda item 5C, the discussion and approval of Senate Bill 55-169, an act to appropriate funds for the social work ESW leader scholarships. Chairperson Martinez, you have the floor for your follow.
Hello, everyone. This is actually not my Senate bill. This is, Senator Davis, so I will be presenting it for her on her behalf. Basically, Senate Bill 55-169 is a scholarship that, is gonna be a child scholarship for the social works ESW leader scholarship. So basically, these are for students that are trying to work into social work. We have already talked with the departments, they're ready to get started. I know that down in the Denham Bay are, it states like the establishment of awards and eligibility, but this is not going to be a scholarship. Well, this is gonna be a scholarship if there's ever money season in the future, so that's why, Senator Davis set it up the way that she set it up in the Denham Bay. But they just wanted to try it out to see if it works. And, in all these Senate bills, not just this one, it does state, in the very last section, that the scholarships and grants committee may provide funds for the scholarship in future years if the committee chooses to do so. So, just because we're approving it, it could always be brought up, but, definitely let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about it.
Thank you. Are there any questions or points of discussion regarding the bill? Senator Curry?
Senator Craig, Senator Craig, for the record, thank you so much for your presentation, Bill, and acknowledge that it's not your bill. But my question is, why only social work? That just seems very strict with that we're having scholarships, is only one major one. Even some of why Senator Davis chose for her.
I know that this has been a project that she's been working on ever since we found out about the one-time sponsorship. So when we brought it up, and I don't remember which meeting it was, but it was like a while ago, next summer. One of the main scholarship ideas that she brought up was social work, and I think it had to do with the fact that maybe she's within that area of like study. So she's more willing to help out people that are within her area, kind of like, you know, when senators maybe like go for like having for like business, but you know, your business being a business major or like, hospitality, just like hospitality stuff. So the, Senator Davis really picks because it's an area that she's very familiar with, and as well as it's an area that she physically sees students will get impacted by this in a positive way.
Senator Curry?
Senator Craig, so it's purely just because she's close to that major.
SGPT Varela?
I have a question regarding, the bill, I think it's just one. Yeah, so is what's like added to the agenda, what's going to basically like predetermine how it gets selected? Or is this solely for the purpose of adding it to the bylaws, like based on how it's structured?
Thank you for your question. This is basically just to give, well, there, I think like two main reasons. So the first main reason is to make it easier for the Senate to read because we were very familiar with the way that our CSUN bylaws are written. So it just made it very easier for us to read what will be happening during this scholarship. And a second thing is that, um, she does want to make this into a future scholarship for season two, have like recurring funding, so she wants to set it up like the way it is in the bylaws now, so that in the future, if she ever wants to bring it up, she can. But this is just currently for the Senate bill, this is just based on funding and being very transparent on where, like, the qualification, the ability, and who's gonna get rewarded what.
Senator Brooks?
Senator Brooks, for the record, I want to follow up with what Senator Curry was talking about. I do feel like it's a little weird that this is specifically going to just one major in a college. We already have a decent amount of trouble to get applications for a lot broader scholarships that kind of touch every degree on campus, that like, so it doesn't matter what degree you're taking. Or in example of the college of education scholarships that we have that touches the entire like college of education, not just a specific major. Is there a reason why this was so, this is so specified to a single degree rather than the entire Greenstone College?
Thank you for your question. So the main reason why it was specifically specified for like the social work program was, like I said, it meant, Senator Davis has been working on it, and it just happens to be in an area that she will see the positive impacts on it. And, as well as just as a reminder, this is only a one-time sponsorship, so if for some, let's say that it does get approved, you don't have to fund it again. This is just specifically for a one-time thing.
Senator Martinez Solis?
Senator Lucas, so for the record, I do understand why, what the idea of wanting to help out a major that's so close to Senator Davis, but I think also the idea of just trying to help out one small major isn't the best ideal when it's like we could do a lot more. For example, my question is mainly just what kind of hardships do people in that program go through that make it difficult for them? For example, I would love to help out maybe support a bill that was meant more for the college of education, because those students, they don't have when they start getting to the last year, they have to start doing their trade, they have to start being like substitute teachers and teaching, and they don't get paid for that stuff. But they also don't have the time to go to a second job, because that means they have to go to college and then basically do work for free. So stuff like that, I wanna know what kind of stuff that social work major goes through that makes it difficult, where they really would like benefit from this, because I see that they also want to maintain a minimum of 2.5 GPA, and like, I do believe that's too low of a GPA to ask for, to be able to be like, okay, cause I don't wanna bash on social work, but I wanna say that that's not, I don't believe it's such a difficult degree to not maintain a nice GPA of 2.7 or higher. You get what I'm trying to say? So, I think that would be kind of nice to try to raise up some, if you really wanna go through with this, also raise up the GPA as well, and also what kind of hardships they go through as well.
So going, what you just stated about the GPAs, that's actually written in our CSUN bylaws. We have that written for all of our scholarships, except one. So all of our scholarships do contain a 2.5, and it even states in our CSUN bylaws that the minimum should be 2.5. So that's why it's a 2.5. As for like the actual benefits of it, unfortunately, I cannot answer that question because in the end of the day, this isn't my Senate bill, this is Senator Davis. So I can't not give you like the exact um, process of how it would benefit students. But I think just from the chair perspective, any scholarship is a good scholarship, especially when it helps out people with tuitions. I think like that's the main benefit of why people apply for scholarships to begin with. But when it comes to the social work department, I can't not answer that.
Senator Ross? Senator Costa-Norgard, can I have this from a perspective of, as an urban affairs student and somebody who's in the scholarships and grants committee? At the committee meeting, when she presented it, she kind of explained that, in the urban affairs college and in many other colleges, there's a lot of, departments that offer scholarships within the college to different majors, but social work is lacking in that department, like, basically social work compared to the other majors, like, it's harder for them to get scholarships, and I believe that was the reasoning behind it, just to answer the questions on why it's only social work. And as a senator in that college, that's probably why. Senator Curry?
Senator Craig. Senator, here for the record, thank you for that, Senator Costa. Maybe a question for either the chair or Senator Costa. I know, for example, the accounting program, in the business school, a lot of their scholarship funds come from either donations to alumni or just talking to people around town, getting employers to come mingle with the undergraduates. What kind of does the social work program do anything similar? Like, what do they do to get undergraduates either scholarships or in contact with potential employers currently?
Senator Costa, for the record, Senator Costa, for the record, I'm not sure exactly what they currently do, but if I remember correctly, I'm not sure if this is in the minutes, but I do remember that she just brought up that, it's just harder to find funding and people willing to donate. Chair, Martinez?
Senator President, just going also based off of my own college provides a scholarship for mathematical science, the degree I'm in. And they tend to do funding with that Rebel Gives, is that what it's called? I know that's when they get funding because I know that they also tend to lack in funding when it comes to that scholarship, but I obviously didn't pursue that. So I think when it comes to like many colleges, they do try their best to seek funding, like with, Rebel Gives or just asking outside donors if they wanna donate to the scholarship. So it's the same thing with this scholarship. I'm pretty sure Senator Davis seeks to seek funding for this because of the fact that this program scholarship just receives way less funding compared to other major programs within the UNLV community.
Are there any more questions or points of discussion? Senator Brooks?
Senator Brooks, for the record, and are you confident that, there will be 5 applicants to receive this funding? Or what is how competitive do you as the chair imagine the scholarship will be?
Yeah,
Compared to like the student diverse program, I feel like it will definitely attract students' attention way more. We never know with truly how much applications one can receive. That's why we only seek for the one-time sponsorship, so that in case, let's say, there's over 30, that's great, if the committee ever seeks to seek funding for that again, then, you can do that. Or let's say that they only get 4, then it's oh, okay, I mean, at least we tried and just not fund it again.
I think we do that, Anita.
I kind of want to circle back to a point that was made by some reference to Luis. I don't want to say that we should not support the school social work. I do think I've definitely heard that University College tends to lack on giving them some sort of financial aid. But I kind of was wondering, I mean, probably one, two questions, if you may be able to discuss me. If this sort of like how we are allocating funds to a specific major now opens up the possibility of doing the same for other majors or departments. And then what was the exact like, I guess, thought process for selecting specifically the school's social work, but not any other like discipline across campus? And not to say that the school social work does not have like or is not bad enough to, transport them, but like, if it is, what was the thought process behind that, and like, how can we apply it to the future, where someone else might come from a different college and be like, this college is just a school social work, where they might also need funds like these, does that make sense?
Senator Cruz Martinez.
If I get, like, if I answer the way you don't want me to answer, then stop me. But I think, it's kind of the same way with like any other kind of funding, it's whoever is in the Senate during that time. So for example, Senator Davis happens to be from the College of Government Affairs. And so that means she has way more access to see the impact of her own college. And that's why she picked the major that she picked, because she saw with her very own eyes the negative impact with the lack of scholarships that the department receives. So it's like the same thing like with other programs that we tend to fund, like we fund them because either they reach out to a specific senator or we're the ones reaching out to the department, see if they need funding. I hope, definitely let me know if I didn't answer you.
You did, I mean, then I guess in that case, the argument you're making is just that it's up to one, the senator itself, so for example, not to say that it's my case, but if I was also in the committee, I can also make the argument that, for example, a discipline in liberal arts has no actual like, there's financial hardships, and so I can make the argument that, oh, I think we should also give some money to liberal arts, if that makes sense? So I mean, I guess I don't see a problem with it, but then it's opening up some sort of like unfairness to see like, what was the actual method used to select specifically like the school social work? I mean, I don't know, someone else is someone get on the same age, if that makes sense. Again, not to say that they don't need the help, but it's like, if we have actual thought process in mind, that we specifically selected that one single program.
Chair Cruz Martinez.
Chair Martinez, like, going aside from this particular scholarship, I did have two, like, completely different meetings where I had the committee search up scholarships, search up, like, programs within the UNLV, and we spent like a while seeing what programs did need funding, but at the same time, what programs we saw could need the help. So we did spend time to look at other departments. So, it just happens that Senator Davis picked this scholarship because of the fact that she saw that that's the one that needed the most benefit from what she can see. So we definitely did look at other departments, but this just happens to be the one that Senator Davis happens to look at on.
Senator Martinez Reyes.
Senator Christopher Martinez, Elisa Record. I'm sorry, not because I also Senator Martinez for putting on the spot here, because I know this is in your bill and, you probably won't have all the questions we're trying to ask. But, yeah, basically putting on with what, SBT volunteers was saying, in terms of like, if we fund this, would that now just open up opportunity for us to go around and make smaller scholarships as well? For example, like I brought up earlier, the College of Education, they will most likely need something, because they don't get enough funding, and like I mentioned earlier, we haven't had a senator for them because they also have a lot of work in terms of their teaching and schoolwork, and they don't have the funds to pay for it. I believe it was like 3 weeks ago, we were talking, I don't know if you were in that room with us, but we were talking to a student from psychology of education, they were telling us all like the stuff they have to go through. So, my thought process is just like also social work. I also just, I wish there was more things of eligibility, and so just giving it to someone, like, what are they gonna look for when they take in applications, like, is it just as long as you have the 2.5 GPA and are a student, or are they gonna be having to write an essay or focus on, like, are they, what their career is and stuff like that?
Okay, so, don't worry about the questions, that's the question, so I don't, if I get your question wrong, also, let me know. I mean, the Senate is always allowed to make additional requirements, whether they choose so. Like, we would just let the department know, saying like, hey, during the meeting, it turns out they wanted us, for you guys to have an essay, like, you can add more requirements, it would just be like that. Just be reasonable with your requirements, that's the one thing I ask. But for, when it comes to the one-time sponsorship funds, it's definitely been a very unique experience, because I also had to learn along the way of how to properly use it. So when we approved it, the committee thought it looked perfectly fine, because like I said, even if it doesn't pass, it can always not be, like, you just won't provide the funding next year. That's all I can say right now. I hope I answered the question.
Senator Mendoza? Senator Mendoza, for the record. So I do believe how everyone's main concern with the scholarship is why fund to this department or to this major when others need it more, and I do respect that perspective. But maybe just to add on what the current discussion is with the eligibility requirements, would the Senate feel more comfortable about approving this bill if we were to add about some type of essay, such as, how are they going to use that $1,000 as a reward, and how is that going to apply to the major? Senator Upshur. Senator Husband, for the record, I have two statements. Number one, I think, the sentiment behind the scholarship is good. I don't doubt that this department is funding. I think my concern is that, if colleges see that we're willing to fund departments that they don't particularly want to fund, there's going to be less students from many colleges, like, requesting and pressuring their colleges to those departments, and like they're just going to rely on us to fund them, if that makes sense. Number two, I honestly think this is already a niche scholarship, and I don't know if you'll get higher applicants. I think adding essays and extra requirements will, I think it's gonna be a bigger area. Right?
Senator, for the record, I agree with Senator Hushman. I just want to put this out for the Senate, is that Greenspun already does have scholarships for the general college as well as for, it looks like, the school of social work, correctly. So I feel like it's the job of administrators to come up with these scholarships. That's why they have their jobs. That's why we pay fees now, because they're staff. So it's their job. I don't think it's quite ours unless there's a clear demonstrated need. And in this bill, I just don't see that.
Are there any more questions? Senator Martinez?
Sorry for the, I just wanted to bring back to Senator Christian's, statement. Just because we provide them funding does not mean that it's very easy for the department. They have to make sure that all the, applications are eligibility. They have to read all the essays, they have to pick people, but by making sure that they don't see like the names or in sheets. So just because we're providing them funding does not make it easy for the departments. They do have a lot of work ahead of themselves. And when they do provide names, they also, a business manager Palacio sometimes even has to tell them like, oh, no, this person's not good, or oh, no, like change another person. So they also have to seek alternatives. So there is, just because we provide them funding doesn't mean that, oh, that's it. They have to do a lot of work on top of that funding because we just make sure that these scholarships are run smoothly. And like I said, this is only a one-time sponsorship. I do understand that this is a niche, and I do understand that more departments could also use funding, but at the same time, if they did, they would have came up to me and asked. I've been asking senators to ask me if they want to present any scholarships. And I only had three, and we only passed, I only had five, and we only passed three, so these are this is the one of the few scholarships that was presented to us. The department did take their time and patience to discuss eligibility, discuss how it's gonna go, discuss whether or not they're gonna have committee members, discuss whether or not they have promoted. A lot of work goes behind these scholarships before they even get brought up as Senate bills. Cause I asked them to please check everything out before it even gets brought up. And like I said, I do understand that it's a niche, um, it is a niche scholarship. Just because it's niche does not mean that it will not receive applications. Keep in mind, the Student Diverse Program offers a lot of scholarships, and yet they only get less than 5 applications per year. So just because it's a niche does not mean that it won't get the applications that it needs to keep on.
Are there any questions or points of discussion? Senator Martinez?
Senator Martinez, for the record, I kind of would like for it to be more, if this was, were to get passed in general, to, instead of just giving it to just, random people. I know you did mention that people, the school, they come to you and talk to you about a lot of the things. Can you go more in depth of what they wanted to do, of what they said?
So, due to the fact that it is a one-time sponsorship, I just in general, I asked the committees that if there's a scholarship that they wanted to work on, to communicate with the department, ask them whether or not they will even, if there's a scholarship that they would like to invite funding, or if there's a scholarship they even want to work on, like just get started in general. So that's where this particular senator also comes in. So, Senator Davis went up to this department and asked them whether or not they wanted funding to, for the scholarship. And they happened to say yes. And basically, some of the main things that I asked them, I'll be like, okay, so what is the main objective? Why are we grading the scholarship to begin with? How much funding would be needed? You might justify why it's that amount of funding. Go more in depth with our CSUN bylaws, because, I just wanna make sure that this is a scholarship that kind of aligns with their scholarships. And as well as what is the marketing like? Is there any additional requirements that we want them to establish that they think would also be a great fit for them? So for example, there's a few scholarships here at within our CSUN scholarships that specify specific requirements. So like, for example, the summer term added specific goals that we didn't have in our CSUN bylaws. And, I did ask, Senator Davis to just, keep working with them. And this is what they brought up to the table, and that's how we came about seeing it and approving it. And I also worked with Senator Davis for a while to also figure out the Senate law, just to make sure that not only does it align with the way that CSUN works, but also gets to where the department can, benefit from it. I hope that's your question.
Senator Martinez,
Senator Martinez, at least we're right. Another thing I also wanted to think about is that, there's only $30,000, right, for the one sponsorship? And so if we were to fund this, it goes down to 25,000. I think that's a bit too excessive. In my opinion, at most, I would be fine with lowering it down to maybe 3,000. Just so that there's a lot of money left over for the next session. If, that's something people would be wanting to consider, make a decision.
Senator President.
You can do that. The main thing is just to, try it out, this is the one sponsorship, so if you think that lowering it down to 3,000 is worth it, you're more than welcome to do so. It does state in their rewards, that they were planning to give out 1,000 for 5 undergrad students, so if you want to do that.
I motion to.
Senator Martinez, please.
Sorry.
Senator Martinez.
Sorry. Senator Martinez authority. I motion to. So amend, motion to amend addendum A, section 2. This scholarship will be awarded to 5 UNLV undergraduate students at $1,000 each. This scholarship will be awarded to 3 UNLV undergraduate students of $1,000 each.
Is there a second? Seeing none, the motion fails. Are there any more questions or points of discussion? Seeing none, I will move on to a roll call vote. Senator Martinez on the bill of approving Senate Bill 5569. Senator Martinez Solis. Senator SPP Tiradero.
No.
Senator Tutele.
Okay.
Senator Prieto.
No.
Senator Hushman. Senator Mendoza. Senator Lay. Nay. Senator Higgins.
No, nay.
Senator Perez Martinez. Yay. Senator Cos. Yay. Senator Navarro Mendoza.
Nay.
Senator Brooks.
Nay.
Senator Cameron. Yay. Senator Curry.
Yeah.
Senator Briones.
Yay.
Senator Yellington. Yay. Senator Hushman. Nay. With 3 to 13 to 0, the Bill doesn't pass. I will now, or is there any more questions or further discussion? Before I close the item. Senator Cruz Martinez?
Senator Perez Martinez. I think from speaking on behalf of Senator Davis, I think it's a little bit disappointing that just because this is a niche scholarship, it shouldn't be funded. Keep in mind, there's definitely a lot of niche scholarships in general at UNLV, and they're thriving just because this happens to be at a college that definitely has one of the fewer students. I just, it's a little bit disappointing, yeah.
Are there any more questions after this question? And with that, I will close agenda item 5C as 6:41 PM, and at the same time open 5D, discussion approval of Senate Bill 55-170, an act to establish the Rebel Resilience Scholarship as a one-time sponsorship scholarship for the committee. Evaluation. Senate President Chair Perez Martinez or the author of the bill. Author of the law.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to quickly introduce the bill, Senate Bill 55-170. As this bill reallocates $5,000 within the CSUN budget to fund the Rebel Resilience Scholarship for the 2025 to 2026 academic year. And the scholarship is going to be a one-time allocation through the CSUN scholarship, one-time funding and supporting students who demonstrate resilience and perseverance within mental health experiences. And following this scholarship cycle, the Scholarships and Grants Committee will then assess the impact and determine whether it should be considered for recurring funding and remain a one-time scholarship or be removed. And essentially, this bill ensures that CSUN supports a new scholarship opportunity for the upcoming academic year while maintaining the fiscal responsibility through committee evaluation before committing any long-term funding. But to kind of get into the presentation that we wanted to provide in order to kind of show you guys the transparency within the scholarship and the process that we kind of took. This is going to be a scholarship that's dedicated to supporting and amplifying voices in the area of mental health, and it will be housed under the student affairs. And this was actually worked on with Scott Hoffman with the university support team, as well as Stephanie Cooper with student affairs. And just to kind of get into it, the next slide is just the focus and overview, which this scholarship amplifies mental health voices for students who have faced or are currently facing mental health challenges, who have presented a form of strength, encourage, and also celebrates resilience and advocacy in wellness and mental health. As again, later on, there is going to be a rubric to kind of showcase that and promotes a trauma-informed and inclusive approach to student success. And then the next slide is just the mission of this scholarship, which is going to be focused on supporting open dialogue and destigmatization around mental wellness and uplift students, transforming their experiences into empowerment and reflection, recognizing the strength and personal experience and challenges and show importance within emotional and mental health and wellness. And then next slide is going to focus on the scholarship rubric. And we just wanted to provide all of the things that we've been working on within this scholarship. And to this purpose would be to evaluate applicants based on resilience, reflection, authenticity, and impact. And we wanted to emphasize that this would be not based on the intensity or dramatic of a mental health challenge. And then on the next slide, you'll find the application materials that we will be using for the application itself. And this would be an essay response up to 500 words addressing any of the following, to name a few: a hardship or adversity overcome through a mental health experience, an advocacy journey within mental health and wellness, and how mental health has influenced beliefs, relationships, and purpose. And this is going to be completely and totally optional, but there's going to be a letter of recommendation that highlights resilience or advocacy within a mental health experience. And The next slide just introduces how we have brought it up to conversation that we are going to be pursuing a trauma-informed approach, acknowledging sensitivity and empowering applicants through this application process, making sure that this is developed very carefully, especially with this topic of mental health and wellness. And the scholarship follows a trauma-informed framework to ensure ethical and safe participation. Again, some points to this is prompts will allow applicants to share only what they're comfortable with. And we're going to emphasize that no proof of trauma or recovery is ever required. This focuses on growth, reflection, and resilience rather than a severity of a challenge or mental health obstacle. And optional references may come from mentors, peer supporters, or advocates. And again, this is going to be carefully developed with this application, and it's going to be in consultation with Scott and Stephanie, making sure that everything on there is the trauma-informed approach. And then this is just the rubric breakdown of what this application would entail. I won't go too in depth with it, but this is going to be graded by a committee with 3 to 5 people with experience in wellness through public health, nursing, student services, and etc. And then these are just some more background and context information within CAPS analysis on the next slide. And it just kind of highlights and showcases how mental health and CAPS is a growing department that's being visited by a lot of students, and it just continues to grow. And this was back in 2022 as well. So the next slide just highlights mental health in higher education, and just to read a few, students in recovery often need flexible support and recognition, and scholarships like this one will break the cycle of stress, financial strain, and also a worsening of their mental health if it comes from any financial obstacles. And then I also wanted to kind of highlight a benchmark example that Washington State University does, which is just an Elevate Mental Health Awareness Scholarship that focuses kind of on mental health. And this is kind of I just wanted to kind of highlight that. And then the next slide is the scholarship allocation. I kind of just wanted to go highlight what this scholarship would entail and the allocation information for the one-time sponsorship. This, if approved, it would be covering for 5 undergraduate students with $1,000 per awarded recipient, which is $500 dispersed per semester, totaling to $5,000 coming from the one-time sponsorship. And this would be open to all undergraduate students, and it wouldn't open to all majors as well. But the next slide is just also contact information, because I know Stephanie and Scott couldn't make it tonight. So if there are any questions regarding that as well, I think their contact information on there. But I know they're not here, but I also wanted to thank Scott and Stephanie because they have been a humongous help throughout this whole process. So yes.
Senator Martinez.
Senator Martinez, so this, but okay, I have a question. Would you write a lot of this rubric and stuff like that? Were they the ones that provided this rubric?
We actually, so there have been multiple meetings, so I actually was in the meetings with them when constructing it too. So we actually did work on it together, while I was in those meetings.
I just want to say you did an amazing job with focusing on such a great topic and also providing a very detailed explanation of like eligibility and requirements and stuff. I think that's very great of you, and I think it's a great bill.
Senator Brooks.
Senator Brooks, for the record, I also wanted to just give you a round of applause. This is a really incredible scholarship I'm getting. And I think that you really stepped up to the plate in order to craft this. So I just wanted to say that.
Seeing none, we will move forward with a voice vote. All in favor of approving Senate Bill 55-170, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. With a vote of 16 to 0, the scholarship is approved. We'll now close 5D at 6:50 p.m. And at the same time, open 5F, discussion approval of Senate Bill 55-168, and act to appropriate funds for the first generation essay contest. Presented by Chair Presidentis.
Hello, everyone. So I am the author of Senate Bill 55-168, so I'll actually be able to answer your questions. I have a statement before I start my own from Dr. M. Dr. M is the main person in charge of this essay contest, but unfortunately she couldn't be here today because of other responsibilities, so I just wanted to read her statement. Dear CSUN, thank you for your consideration of the scholarship funds request for the first generation students at UNLV. Roughly 60% of our undergrad population identifies as first generation. There are a few scholarship opportunities for first generation students to access scholarship funding at UNLV. The intersection first generation essay contest provides students with a unique way to share their story and a chance to be recognized with a financial reward. Our office has held its competition for the last 5 years, and its popularity and success are all due to donations from individuals like me. On behalf of the intersection, I thank you again for your continued hard work for UNLV Student Fund, and I thank you for your time. So that was her statement. So, let me go on actually the Senate bill itself. So I am seeking $2,000 for the first generation essay contest. You might be asking, why only 2,000? That's because that's how much the department seeked. I did wanted to provide them more funding, but they like to keep it even on both undergrad and grad students. So if you search up this essay contest, you can easily search it up on first generation essay concert UNLV. They provide this contest to undergrad students and grad students. They are fully aware that this funding will be only for undergrads. So they are fully aware. You might be asking, why is this funding not like, why doesn't it state scholarship? Due to the one-time sponsorship, there's many ways to provide funding, and this essay contest is a way to help our first generation students. If you look at addendum A, you can see the description that's written and basically highlights that this is a first generation contest. So this is a, so this is gonna help our first generation students. They do list out their winners. The way that they provide their rewards is that they give it out in scholarships. And the way that they do it is that programs like ourselves, for this year, the Black Mountain Institute, provided them $2,000. And they will be dividing the 2,000 based on the first, second, and third place. So it will be the same thing with the undergrad students, so it will be separated. More will be given to the first place and less, but still enough, scholarship money will be rewarded to the third place. As you can see, based on last year's funding, that you can see also in addendum B. Last year, the first place won $750. Meanwhile, the second and third place won 500 and the third place won 200. So they try their best to divide money fairly, especially with the winners. I will like to go back with what Dr. M stated. This is not, there's no such thing as a first generation scholarship. And this is the closest that we will get to having a first generation like a first generation scholarship. They do really, they do everything that CSUN scholarships already do. They have a committee. They open it up at a certain time and close it at a certain day. They have, their applications very specific. And they actually do a ceremony based on who wins these rewards. Even though this first generation essay contest does not contain the word scholarships. In the end of the day, they do still reward scholarships as the prize. And like I stated, this is the closest opportunity that we are going to see of a first generation scholarship. It's just the name is what might throw a little people off. So, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please, I'd be more than happy to answer. Thank you. Are there any questions or public discussion regarding the bill? Oh, Senator Hutchinson.
Senator Hutchinson, for the record, this is a really good idea. I was just wondering, with like how big of a proportion the UNLV like population are first generation students, why only 3 winners? Like maybe why not divide the 2,000 amongst like 4 or 5 students evenly? Like I get that as a contest, but like I don't know, like I was wondering if there's like a rubric and maybe just give like if you could just like maybe give it more strict on the rubric and then give the funds to the 4 or 5 students who apply to that well.
Yeah, more than happy to answer your questions. So the main reason why they divided the way that they divided is because funding is never guaranteed for this, essay contest sadly. So for example, I believe a couple years ago, they used to get like 3,000 or 4,000. And this year they were only rewarded 2,000 from the Black, Mountain Institute. So the main reason why they have it divided the way that they have it divided is because they genuinely don't know how they will get the funding. They always have to seek funding every single year. And, do you picture, I'm sorry. Senator Hutchinson?
Sorry, I was just wondering if there's like a rubric for this testing, like the one, in ID testing, I mean, better, realistic.
So the main reason why I didn't list out a rubric is because the intersection itself already had a rubric. And, I believe if you go to the website, you'll see the essay like prompt. So they do like, and they, from what I've understood is that they have like around 5 to 10 5 to 10 people look at the scholarship, and based on how inspirational their story is, how encouraging it is, and what does it truly mean to be a first generation student. So I didn't list it as well because, it's, since it's a first generation and they have the same like requirements that our CSUN scholarships already have, I kind of think this a little unnecessary, but if you want me to add, I can add. Senator Gonzalez?
Senator Morgan, also, this is more of a Senator question right now. The requirements are on their website, and it's just basically a 500-word essay, and they're basically there's 3 essay themes, so it's survival, the most challenging moment in our lives, often teaches crucial survival skill from a first generation perspective, share an example, story, or advice to help you overcome academic and personal challenges.
those are translation one and a first one, like what's your breakdown college campus feels like. And the judge based on like organization, grammar, and style, and presentation. That's basically the requirements. It's on their little document. But also my question maybe for Senator Perez Martinez is the reason they're only asking for 2K is because black poetry, black magic,
The Black Mountain Institute.
black magic institute. They're only giving 2,000 this year, and so basically, since we're not allowed to give money for the grad students, they're just asking for 2K to match them. Is that correct?
So the intersection wanted to make it fair for both undergrad and grad students. So when I first asked them that if they wanted 5,000, because like I said, this is a first generation ethic contest, which is really similar to a first generation scholarship. They were looking at the idea of that, but then they informed me, hey, the Black Mountain Institute has provided us $2,000, so to keep it even for both undergrad and grad student, we would like to also just get $2,000.
What is it? Okay, nice to hear more. But thank you.
Senator Brooks?
Senator Brooks, for the record, I think that this is a great way to spend some funds. The only question I have regarding your presentation is when you say that UNLV doesn't have any first generation specific scholarships, do you mean that CSUN doesn't? Because I was looking on the UNLV website and just with a simple Google search, I found the Wells Fargo Nevada First Generation Scholarship, as well as the Aristocrat Gaming First Generation Scholarship, which are available to any student at UNLV.
So, when I talked to the intersection themselves, they stated like they've seen, because for example, those are run by big companies. And it's not run specifically by departments. That's why we name it as the quote unquote only first generation as a contest because of the fact that it's run by big companies and not run by UNLV itself.
Are there any more questions or points of discussion? No, seeing none, I will move on to a voice vote. So all in favor of approving Senate Bill 55-168, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. With a vote of 16-0, congratulations, it is approved. I will now close 5F at 7:03 PM and at the same time open 5I, discussion and approval of the Ways and Means Committee operating policy. Chair Curry, you have the floor.
Well, I know this is the moment probably. The operating policy can be found in the supplemental materials, right? So I can either go through it change by change, or just kind of let everyone read it. It's not in there.
And while we wait for the record center to tell you when offered by Office of Village at 6:51 PM, leaving us with 15 senators on the quorum, and it's back at 6:58, we're back at 16 senators meeting quorum.
I don't have permission to add things to the poll. Ready? All right, it should be in your now. Okay, so generally the changes we made during this session were a kind of reflection after we finished our funding period. All changes are marked in green, italicized. All the things we were taking out are marked in red and it's crossed out. Yeah, so if only just go line by line, change by change, or. Okay, so first things first, under Title III, subsection A, we added a new section called 14, which one area of contention we got during the funding section, the funding cycle, was that RSO numbers would change constantly. They go up and down, people would leave, and there's nothing directly in our operating policy telling us where or when we should look at these numbers. If at some point in the past, maybe there was something, but in the previous policy, there wasn't. So we just made that strict. Once you submit a application, that is the number we will use. And we are doing this because it allows us to plan out our funding cycle consistently and evenly. So that was one change we had. Another change we had was we had a section, we have our tier system where depending on the number of members, you can request a certain amount of funding. We had a stipulation in our operating policy that said organizations that believe they should not be subject to these limits can go over the limits. While there are some organizations, we've just been getting a lot of obscenely high requests, like a $45,000 request, a $29,000 request, and we feel like these tiers are here for a reason. Ways and means at the end of the day is supplemental funding, and it's fair. It's just makes it fair for every RSO will hold and do. They know what level they are on the playing field and what they can actually request, what they can reasonably request from Weight and Means. And next thing was ticketed items, events, registrations, and passes, all that fun stuff. In the past, we've had it so we will fund things like registrations or conferences. And then we had a subsection that says or equivalents as interpreted by the committee. From session to session, that interpretation has changed quite a bit. And what this does is it said any and all ticketed items. So for example, if an RSO wanted to go to a conference, we would fund that at 50%. If they wanted to go to Disneyland, we'd fund that at 50%. If they wanted to go wherever, awesome. We'll fund that at 50%, have fun, and send a postcard. So that's just kind of adding more clarity in the operating policy for future sessions. Additionally, we kind of reworked the clothing item section. One thing we've been seeing is RSOs requesting a lot of clothing items. I think the highest I've seen was around 300 individual clothing items, which just seems, and with an RSO count of like 25, which seems a bit much. Again, Ways and Means is supplemental material funding. And another thing we've seen is RSOs are requesting a diverse array of items. So for example, sweaters, hoodies, t-shirts, the works. And in the old operating policy, we had it so we'd only fund 2 items, an item for your general members and an item for a subsection of your members. And in this new operating policy, we've loosened it in some ways, but really restricted it in others. So what we have is we've created a cap system. So for example, if you have 25 members in your involvement center, for example, you have 25, and you can request up to 200% of individual items. So you can request 50 items of clothing. Clothing, accessories, etc. What those items are is up to the discretion of the RSOs. So if you do want 25 general member shirts for your members, and then 10 shirts for your competition team, and 15 polos for your e-board, we can make that work. That just gives RSOs more breathing room to request more diverse array of items. But they can only request those 50 items. If they request 51, 52, 60, 100, it has to be at that 50. And that goes, the only exception in this is for RSOs in that tier 1 funding bracket, which is, anyone below 25. For example, if you are a new RSO on campus, you only have 5 members. It doesn't make sense if you're trying to grow to only give them 10 shirts. So we've given their brackets, 200% of the headcount for tier 1 funding bracket, which is 50 items that a new RSO can request. And that's just so they can compete with the bigger RSOs or the more established RSOs. Or if they're, for example, a member of the Greek community, and a lot of the chapters here on campus have 5 or 6 members, and they're trying to grow. So that just gives people some more breathing room, while also making sure that this is only supplemental material funding. Catering is a big hit. I know this is a new thing we introduced into the cycle. The idea was this is a commuter campus. What better way to get people to come to campus and stay longer is food. We had a cultural catering and a non-cultural catering policy, but in the olden days, non-cultural catering would be funded at 100%, and we've recently introduced an item that says if it's non-cultural catering, we'll fund it at 50%. A lot of RSOs have been trying to cheat the system by trying to claim anything under the sun as cultural catering. Just because it wasn't specific enough. I think we had one RSO request Taco Bell for cultural catering. And it just, however you look at culture, is just such an eye of the beholder. So we added the stipulation of all catering may be funded at 50%, with the stipulation of if an organization seeking an exception to this may request additional funding if the catering serves a clear purpose related to cultural education and or enrichment. So it's getting away from the idea that the food itself is cultural, but the food's for a cultural educational event or enrichment. So they have to justify kind of the motivation behind it. So to make sure that it adds substance to it. Additionally, I think for this funding round, this is our operating policy change. These are just some things we've seen in committee. These are things we want to experiment, refine the process more and more until we can get that perfect, operating policy. Are there any questions for me?
One question for participants, Senator Martinez.
Hello, Senator President Martinez. Thank you so much for the questions. I think all of these are a wonderful idea. I just had a question regarding the comment that I sent to you earlier. I was wondering what went about it.
We didn't add up the operating policy.
I asked why.
We just didn't think it was relevant. So for context, what we were talking about is Senator Perez Martinez wished to.
Point of order. If Senator Wurtzberger, if you are going to be discussing prior communications, it is my opinion that we should all be made aware of what these prior communications were.
Absolutely. So Senator Perez Martinez sent me a GChat/email asking if, what was it, balloons and non-decomposable items can be. Actually, you sent the email, you should explain it. Yeah.
Senator Martinez.
I told Chair Curry if he could have a talk about whether or not we should remove the stipulation of single-use items because of the fact that we've already been funding single-use items. And on the operating policy says unless compostable, recyclable, or for health, public health purposes, but we've also been funding items due to crafts. And I feel like there's so many ways that the RSOs could go about it that I felt like it should have, the one-time items should just be removed because of that, since there's already so many things we're funding that are already one-time use items. And it's already getting passed.
Sorry, if I can, add on to that.
Yes, go ahead,
Yeah,
Curry.
so we had a discussion about the Disney Club, using balloons and plastics for craft items. The idea behind not funding single-use items unless they're compostable or recyclable is we just don't want a bunch of plastic ending up in UNLV's trash cans. But if the idea and the intent behind the item is to take it home and reuse it, and an RSO can justifiably make that argument they are going to reuse it, then yes, we can fund that. For example, some canopies, while the frame is metal, the top can often be a sort of plastic or a polymer. Often those things are not recyclable, but an RSO makes the case they can reuse it and they can safely reuse it. So we fund that. For the arts and crafts, people take crafts home. People love crafts and people want to have, it's an experience, it's a bonding experience that people can make something and they can take it home, show it to their friends, make something together. And the idea is they can take it home, cherish it.
Senator Perez Martinez.
Senator Perez Martinez, going based on what you said, I remember last session, we used to be more strict on plates and forks and spoons, and we specifically stated to them they have to be compostable. But this time, we weren't even strict about it at all. We said, oh, it's health purposes. So, and we know that that is going to end up in the garbage. So that's why I just think that, never mind, I wasn't there during the meeting, but I thought that getting rid of the one-time items, when we've already been funding things that already go beyond compostable, recyclable, or for health purposes only, I felt like it should be removed, but that's what I think.
Two, maybe three things. First of all, in the last session, that was a different committee, different precedent set. So yeah, three things. Second of all, while that committee was stricter on the one-use item, they were more lenient in others. For example, funding over the RSO limit, they were a lot more lenient for that. Addition for this committee has been stricter on some things while more lenient on others. And we've been fairly strict on one use items. It's just items that they can't, it's items for decorations that we don't fund, but items for, arts and crafts, that's okay. People like to make crafts. And even in the previous session, we did fund some arts and craft ourselves.
And for the record, Senator Leon went off of Office Village at 7:13 p.m. and we're back at 7:17, and with that, we were back past the sitting Senator's main quorum, and then Senator Pietro went off by personal privilege, at 7:19, we were left at 15, and Senator Lay went off of personal privilege at 7:20, we're now at 14 senators, Chairperson Martinez.
Senator Martinez, for the record. I just wanted to bring it up. I think that it's a very, one-time use items are definitely very unique, and like you said, they tend to change very from session to session. So I thought it was a very interesting idea to bring up, to just remove the one-time use. The committee seems to change from time to time. But like I said, I think the rest of the operating policy is pretty good. I'm not going to be here, so I'm not even going to experience it myself. So that's why I just wanted to bring that up.
Are there any questions or further discussion regarding the vote? Seeing none, we will move on to a voice vote. All in favor of approving the Ways and Means Committee operating policy, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With a vote of 14-02, it passes.
Thank you.
Back to the privilege at 7:22, we are at 13 senators. Still needing quorum. We will now close, and at 7:22, I will now close agenda item 5I at 7:22, and at the same time, open Senate committee reports. Starting off with Ways and Means Chair Grady.
Chair Curry, thank you for passing on the operating policy. We look forward to using it for the next funding cycle. If you have any questions or comments about our SO funding or IBA decision, please email me. That's all. Thank you.
Budget and Grants Chairperson Martinez.
Oh.
Okay.
Hello, Chairperson here. Thank you for everyone for approving the 2 scholarships that we had. I'm a little sad we didn't approve the 3rd one, but the person was approved for them. As of today, there is still $23,000 left for the one-time sponsorship funds for the committee. So the next session can definitely use them during that time. As for, my chair training, I have finished my chair training. There is about like 12 videos and like 2 documents full of chair responsibilities and scholarships and grants responsibilities. So hopefully the next chairs can definitely pick up where I left off, but also be able to make creative things as well. And thank you. I know that I answered in the middle of the session, but I want to thank everyone for letting me be the chair for this wonderful committee. I've been in this committee since I first entered CSUN, so back in December 4th, 2023. So the fact that I've been in this committee for 4 years, I'm very happy to end up the way that it ended up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for the record, Senator Pietro's background for personal privilege at 7:23, we're back at 16 senators. Internal affairs Chairperson.
Chairperson, for the record, I don't have a report in the drive. We did not have a meeting last week and we don't plan to have one this week. Just real quickly, I wanted to thank all the members of the committee for all the hard work that they put in this session. I'm excited to enter a new session with all of you if you're staying in CSUN, and if you're not, I'm really grateful to have got to work with you and that you gave me the chance to be in this position, even if it wasn't for so long. Otherwise, that is my report.
Hi, Chair Higgins for the record. You can find my report in the drive. Just to keep it short, I'll kind of paraphrase everything that's written in there. So thank you to all committee members for your work in the committee. I am eternally grateful to have had such a strong and passionate committee. And we accomplished so much in terms of the annual reports and sponsorship expansion and taking on new initiative projects. So I'm really proud and I'm really happy with what we got accomplished. I feel like the committee over time that I've been in CSUN has slowly been picking up the pace, and I feel as though it will reach a good full potential here pretty soon. So I'm really excited with where things are going. I'm working on my transition guide currently. It's going to be really comprehensive and cover all of the different aspects of the committee, so that way it's set up for success in the next session and things can get started as soon as possible on the best foot. And I would also like to give a special thank you and shout out to Senator Cameron. She picked up the responsibility of vice chair, of course, immediately after the dismissal of the previous vice chair. And she took on all the responsibilities of vice chair so swiftly and gracefully. And having someone so dedicated and supportive of committee operations really made finishing everything out super easy. So I just wanted to highlight her contributions and give my thanks to her and everything she's done for the committee as well. That's everything for me. If anyone has any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you so much.
Agenda for 8 at 7:27, and at the same time open for B, professional staff reports. Advisor here. Hi, everybody. Thank you all for all of your service this entire session. I've seen a lot of you grow during the time that you've been in CSUN, even if that was like a really short tenure, like if you got it later in the session. So I just want to say thank you for all of your hard work. For the people who are coming back, we do have a training, coming up Friday, November 7th. It will be available virtually, and if you are on campus and you want to come to the Senate chambers and hang out with us, it's from 11 a.m. to 12:30, so it's a mandatory training that we try to get done really, really soon, just to give you a refresher on all of those things. But thank you so much. It's been an honor and a privilege to work with you all. And I'm super excited for the next session next week.
Hey everyone, I just want to piggyback on what Advisor Hare said. In particular, I want to say everyone's done a great job, but I want to give a special shout out to our outgoing senators. Senators Tuatelli, Melgoza, Berwowski, Montoya, Perez Martinez, and Haas. I just want to take a second to thank you for your service to CSUN. We're sad to see you go, but I'm excited to see what big things you do next. I'm looking forward to the next Senate session, the 56th session. I'm excited to see what you all can continue to accomplish. And then I just want to give a quick update on technology stuff. So I'm sure you saw my email last week. I apologize to those of you who saw me get really frustrated with some technology things going on there. So my technology came out once last week. And then are coming back tomorrow. I believe we have all the parts that we need to fix what was not working or broken or lost. Until that happens, both of the meeting owl and the Senate chambers are pretty unusable because it's impossible to see. The one in the conference room is not great, but it is passable. So if you have to have a meeting and things aren't fixed by tomorrow, just know that, but it should be up and running hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow. And just gentle reminder, please, just don't move things or readjust. I know you do it at like, you try to make fix things, but then fixing one thing takes it from another and another, and I kind of had to unravel kind of a giant mess last week. So please, if something's not working, just let an advisor know. We will try to troubleshoot it with you, but like, don't steal equipment from somewhere else to try to fix this one, and yeah, it got messy. So, thanks, everyone.
Are there any questions for our advisors? Then that, I will close for B at 7:30 and at the same time open for C liaison reports, starting off with SPPT Valeria.
I don't have a like full report, just because I don't really have a lot to say. And just for the chairs to please make sure that you guys get your, transition guys turn in by the end of the week to both me and to the first. I think that's all I have for sure. Oh, no, actually, I have one more thing. So next weekend, we will be hosting the Station Student Council's State Board, here in our offices. If you guys would like to like come and like say hi or help out with anything that you might need, just talk to me afterwards. This is a way for us to be able to connect more with, high school student governments, from across the state. And they haven't wanted to do this for so long, so this is the first time they're actually doing it ever. No, actually, it's the second time, but first time since they opened the student union, so, yeah, thank you.
Do you have any questions for SPPT Valeria? Seeing none, Chief or Attorney General Director.
Thank you, Adrian for the record. I just have three things to say, it's really quick. And taking feedback based on my reports from previous meetings. First, I recently published a foreign journal opinion 12502. You hadn't read it, please do. I think it's really important. It's regarding the JC and their outreach hours and the importance of the roles in the leadership. I go further into the opinion. Second thing, I will send by email a report from the faculty senate curriculum committee meeting. I was originally going to explain it in this report, but I do not want to do it like a long process and rigid lengthy, so I'm just gonna email to everyone. And for the last one, I just want to say like I'm really proud of all the senators and all the work that you've been doing in season, like I see it. And for the outgoing senators, I really hope you have the best in your future endeavors. With that, I yield the floor. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So just some things from me. I am meeting with Creative Arts Journal, artists with Mars and before that. And then also the artist is doing the Hollow Treats, so also I'll be dealing with that as well. And I'll be excited to hang out with everyone at table tomorrow as well. And then I also am meeting with, ESO next week on Thursday. And then, I did want us to join International Education Week if possible, do tabling on November 18th. So if anyone would be interested in tabling with me, that would be great. And it's optional to do an activity, but if you can think of coming up with anything fun and interactive for students, I'd be open to hearing suggestions and ideas. But again, that's on November 18th. But yeah, that's all for me. Have a great Halloween weekend. Are there any questions for AG or Chief of Staff or CPT? No comment. Seeing none, directors, CLA department. Associate Director Hui.
Hello, hey, how's it going, everybody? So we just had our, the Savayan event, last week on Tuesday. We were able to give out some gifts, table, and it was a really fun event. They had a really big turnout. They did a lot of really fun things, karaoke, of the sports. Task force about what's going on, you guys can just read it, but, we have the town hall coming up next month, that we would hope a lot of you guys can attend, up on the 17th, which I believe is a Monday. Right down the hall at the ballrooms, we have 6 elected officials from our state government, and they're gonna be here talking about how it's like to be, the alumni and make it into government. So, I think that's a great opportunity for all of our senators, especially with some of the career paths that you guys might pursue better. Yeah, so that's all I want to do the rest. Thank you.
Director Gaetan.
Alright, so I met with the community engagement administrator with the city of Las Vegas. Cause I'm trying to set up a tour at, at our offices. And apart from that, actually go visit, City Hall at the 7th floor. I think it'll be really exciting with all the members, the city manager, the mayor's up in there, so, be impressionable. Apart from that, I'm creating the flyer for March for the Ballot, creating a budget and gonna make the reservation soon for that. It'll be really exciting to have, current elected or, new candidates to, firsthand see them debate policy. I don't think we really had that. And, I think it's really important that we know who we're voting for, what they stand for. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We have the town hall like, Ethan mentioned. Nancy led that, it's been really phenomenal and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Associate Director Munoz.
Hi everyone, Associate Director Williams for the record, just to echo off both of my colleagues in the department. Our Fiesta sa Bayan was last week, really good turnout. A special shout out to Senator Prieto, Hubschman, Brooks, Curry, Cameron, President Odunze, and VP Tolano. I don't think I'm missing anyone, but special shout out to those who were able to go. And then also, please just mark the date for the CSUN Policy and Action Town Hall on November 17th, looking at our interns too. Please mark that date as well. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun and we're gonna have a lot of things going on during the time. Thank you. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Does anyone have any questions for the CLA? Okay. And elections and operation. Mm, I don't believe. This is Associate Director of Operations. Associate Director Narcos. Yo.
Hi everyone. Just quick update. Pretty much what we've completed was legislative elections, continuing like brainstorming future ideas, and then just like, creating, I ended up creating an event planning checklist. I think I brought this up last meeting. If anybody needs the link to that, just email me and I can forward that. So if it's just like a checklist that I created for event planning. So if any other departments wants to also use that, more than what like to just reach out to me and I can send that to you. And I've met with my interns. What I'm working on in the future, CSUN has an event in November for Friendsgiving. So we'll send out an email about that, I think tomorrow. So please sign up. There is an exact date. I'm pretty sure it there will be an email just to confirm, but I think it is November 16th. Um, just I was just getting the interns adjusted and like getting experience from the department, as well as preparing for boot camp. For those that are still staying in CSUN as a senator or any other position, please look out for an email. We're the only reason we haven't sent out an email for, or it's gonna be on a Saturday most likely this in July. But please look out for that email and that link to RSVP, because we're just waiting till registration opens and to see if our schedules work. But there will probably be an email that is sent out sometime this week. So when that does come out, please RSVP if you are still center. Actually, that's gonna be sent out after the new senators come in. So yeah. And then preparing for the banquet. That also, once the classes, everybody like mid-November will send out an email to see like what date fits best for most people, date and time. And then I'm planning on again getting boot camp all set up. And then get the banquet planning going. And other than that, it's just like finishing up November event planning. And yeah, that'll be it.
Thank you very much. So right now I'm just focusing on next semester's events, the executive elections. So I'm trying to get ahead and start doing all the planning now, creating the budget sheets and looking like the rooms we're gonna look for next semester. So I can have everything ready before the day comes. But that's basically it. Yeah. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the, Associate Director Hyde?
Hi, everyone. So basically, I'm just working on kind of getting feedback on rules and different opinions from people outside of CSUN and just looking forward to the spring elections and get everything planned. Also got the 5503 meeting kind of in the back burner right now, but it will be coming up. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the elections and operations department? Okay. Marketing and social media. Associate Director Marielle.
Hi, sorry, one second. I'm here.
Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Is my camera is it working? Okay. So I have some updates. So our fall sticker it's finalized now. So we've been in contact with IGS and that is going to be coming hopefully soon. But it's all confirmed and everything. And then the prices for the water bottles, we've also been in contact with them and we're working on the draft currently. So those are in the works as they were requested. And we're working on the winter sticker as well. It's a collaboration with Gigi, and we're also working on CSUN merch. So I'm not sure if I can talk much about it, but it's like merch and like backpacks or totes, but we're still kind of we're talking about that still. And I don't know if Caitlin wants to add anything.
Thank you, Associate Director Mariano.
Thank you.
And then Director Fonzo. Hi, so this is my report for the week. I have released the Native American Heritage Month post for November. And then we're also gonna work on town hall advertising, so then we can spread the word and then we'll come to the town hall. Like, how it said, the balls to first order and the water bottles are being made. The interns, I know they addressed that they wanted to grab and work on our TikTok activities, so I'll be reaching out to interns or interns, like you're interested in the TikTok collaborations, and just let me know, and go to some videos and then to. I know Lily also mentioned ways and means want to do like some kind of TikTok. I think Bella was telling me about it, or telling Lily about it. So hopefully they'll plan a day to do that this week. And we also are going to do a pin tradition, or we're looking to do that for the 55th session. Which is gonna be pins that we can get, and then hopefully keep carried on throughout the years. And then SMG and UNI project, I'm gonna be starting to work on. If you have any questions, let me know. Any questions for the marketing and social media department? Okay. I will close for C at 7:46, and the same time open for the executive reports. Starting with Vice President Padano. Hi, everyone. I just want to say that it was a really good session, and I'm really sad to see so many people used to all huddle. Not really high hopes for the new session, and I do want to mention something that I hope is in the new session, and just like the human side of the senators. I feel like recently we've been seeing a lot of like business and things like that, which I don't know how to feel about that. I just would like to see a more sensitive and emotional side when it comes to making sure groups that all the students, everyone, doesn't matter how small they are or how, if there's only two of them, we still have to represent all of them. So that's something that I hope to see in the Saturday Thursday and then the ones that are coming. Yeah, and then we have two more other things for those guys things. We have the AKA debate, the pumpkin patch, the RHA, like the University that is coming, and the Hollow Piece, which is this Wednesday, so I'm hoping see a lot of you there. And then we had a meeting with this executive branch, which was really helpful. And something that I want to mention is Sharon, can you go back to your reports? When Sharon is shared, like, showing the reports and everything, you go like, elections operations, for example. Make sure, like, you have, like, your name, like, where it says, like, AD, like, associate director, make sure that it says your last name and your first name, that way, when Sharon has to open the reports, she knows, like, your name. Because right now, it just says Senate report, so we don't know, like, if it's yours, if it's someone in your department, so make sure that it says your name. When you download the, like, PDF or, like, the doc, you can change the name to make sure that it says your name, that way you know, if it's your report or whose report it is. And then the other thing, for boot camp, for boot camp is going to be January 24th, which is Saturday from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. as U209. That is for spring, so please, like, if you're staying, make sure you save the date for that. It is mandatory, and all of you are expected to be there. I think that's what I had. Yeah, thank you all, and then at the end, if you get like a your dress up and then you can picture with everyone. Oh. And we have executive member of the week. And this week we're going to give it to Liana, because she's been doing a really good I was really proud and, you can never say enough thank you, like, she's always doing amazing. But yeah, just say that, and then happy Halloween weekend, everything. If you're going out, have fun, but be safe. Thank you. Alright. I just wanna say a huge thank you to all of you for my 55th Senate session. I think going into this journey as Senate President was very scary, and I couldn't be more happier to take upon it with such incredible senators. So thank you for those who came to the start of the session and stuck it through, and then those who kind of joined a little bit later on. I'm happy you are my first Senate session, and I'm happy to have lead you, especially I think I'll always hold you guys dear to my heart, as some of you were once my interns and then are now part of the Senate. So I couldn't be more prouder of single one of you. And yes. So those who are leaving, please don't make yourself a stranger. Stop by when we're tabling, stop by the offices. We would love to see your faces. Regarding the first meeting of the 56th session, for those who are returning, remember that there's a mandatory informational meeting at 5:30 or 5:30 to 6:30. We're gonna be reviewing a bunch of like expectations. We obviously are Robert's Rules of Order training there, and just a bunch of other things and activities that our interns help prepare for you all. So I expect you all to be there, that's fine. And then from 6:30, and beyond, we will conduct the Senate meeting, our first Senate meeting. You will all get sworn in. And we will also be taking headshots because we will be, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this before, but we will be using the display case as a way to display all of our season members. So come dress nicely, do your hair, shower, and look nice. And for this week, presenter of the week, I couldn't choose one because again, you are there is a lot of you who are leaving, and I don't have time to actually recognize each and one of you all. So this one's gonna be special, and I'm gonna hang it in Senate chambers. But this goes to all of you all for the fifth session. That was all, so thank you. Are there any questions for any of the execs? Senator Rodriguez.
Senator Lucas, for the record, I heard that there was gonna be a trio sitting between the executive board, is that gonna happen?
Well, we lost our Alvin. Yeah, anyways. And for the record, Senator Curry went home for appointment for social village at 7:36 and was back at 7:39. We're still at 16 senators meeting quorum. I will close executive reports at 7:54 p.m. and at the same time open public comments. This is the time for the public may come and speak. Members of the public are limited to 4 or 3 minutes for your public comment. Please refrain from saying any slanders or defamation of character, as I have the right to for you all. Members of the public, when you come to the podium, please say your first and last name and spell your last name for the record. Are there any public comments in the room? Are there any public comments via the telephone line? Seeing none, I will close public comments at 7:54 and at the same time open Senate summations. Are there any Senate summations? Senator Cos?
Senator Cos, for the record, this is my last meeting this session as a senator. I just want to say thank you guys all so much for the community and I just really enjoyed, every moment of it. Hopefully, this is not the last you'll see of me as my college is not, currently going to be represented. So we'll see. But that's all I have to say. I just want to say thank you all so much for everything, this past couple months that I was here. Senator Craig?
Senator Fraser, to add on to this, my chair was, I want to thank the committee on this. Really put their blood, sweat, and tears in this session. We're all proud of you. You're all amazing. I also want to give a special shout out to the Vice Chair Haas, for being an amazing Vice Chair human being. So let's give her a round of applause. We all appreciate you and info to return to. That's all.
Senator Karen, for the record, because this is our last meeting of the 55th session, I just wanted to express my gratitude to everyone who I worked with for this past session. I joined as a senator in March. Before that, I was an intern, and I was really scared to be appointed, and I was very grateful to have learned so much and continue to learn more in the next session. So excited. Thank you all so much.
Senator Martinez?
Hello, Senator Perez Martinez. I just want to say thank you everyone for, just being wonderful. As many of you all know, I've been here since December 4th, 2023. So 2 days after, no, 2 days before the school shooting. So you're not the best start to season. But, I really have enjoyed the process. As some of you may know as well, I'm a math major, so obviously being a senator has not been neck and neck because of the meetings I have there. It's been very exciting, not only passing the things that I want to pass, but seeing how creative and how much everyone's willing to put in their love and effort in everything that they do. I think that CSUN, I know we get always things for, but I don't think we get thanked enough for everything that we do for the student body for undergrads. About that, thank you so much for also, approving my last Senate bill for the first generation essay contest. It is actually gonna open up next week, because next week is the first generation week. So, definitely, say hi to Dr. M or Dr. Barlow from the intersection. I know that they're gonna be very thrilled to hear that we got it approved. And, thank you everyone. I really appreciate all the love and support that y'all have been putting in.
Senator Mendoza?
Hi, although my time here has only been for 2 months, I really do appreciate my time being here. I really love sitting here and listening to everyone's ideas and perspectives on everything, although it may be different, but I respect them at the end of the day. And I think it's always just like, it gives us more opportunities to grow from one another, which is why I really did love my time here in CSUN. And I also just wanted to give a shout out to Nadia, just because she really helped me understand a lot of CSUN and helped me guide me through a lot of like understanding and help me get educated on a lot of things. So thank you, and thank you to everyone.
Senator Davis.
Hi, Senator Davis for the record. I'm sorry I'm late. But I also wanted to say that I won't be a senator next session either. And I was very honored to be one for this session. And I want to give a special shout out to Dave. I had many conversations with her that helped me really like get through it, and she always helped me to understand things. And I feel like everyone was pretty great about that. Like if I had questions, they would answer them. But the College of Urban Hour Mixer on the 30th, and I think I sent her, but if I didn't, then I will send one out. If you guys feel like attending, it's gonna be a little picnic, so it's not too like stressful. And there will be like crafts and drinks and food, and it's like a super stress-free event, like for after midterms and stuff. So if you guys are attending, please attend. Thank you.
And then I will close Senate's donations and please go fund. And with that, at the same time, I adjourn this meeting.